because of all of you, I won't be meeting my wife to shop for our grandson's birthday present. Instead, we're here in my chambers. And I'm developing an ulcer again.
Your Honor, how's that coffee?
It's a fresh pot I cultivated 2 days ago. Help yourself.
Care for something, Your Honor?
No, but I could use a glass of milk. Now, this case is going to have ramifications no matter its outcome.
Well, we can only hope that our constitutional findings upholding the laws of Virginia banning interracial marriages will be enforced.
Findings. What findings?
Barring two people from getting married is a right of the state.
It's not. It's an individual right. And we the people have the right to choose how we wish to live our lives. And in this case, interracial marriages should have no place in modern society.
Get real. If a black woman named Mildred Gina wishes to marry a white man named Richard Loving, that's their business. Not the right of any state to agree or disagree with their wishes. Our actions are results of our intelligence and intentions.
If two people with different skin pigmentation wish to get married, all they gotta do is leave. Get out and don't come back! That's the law, damn it!
All right, let's calm down. Let's not turn this into a shouting match. Stifle.
Your Honor, this is not Nazi Germany, where we need special permission to marry, to be in the favor with the federal government. People have 14th Amendment rights. All of the people. All of the time.
I'm very well aware of the 14th Amendment guaranteeing every citizen their right to equal protections under the law.
Good, Your Honor. The sooner you can explain to the prosecution, the sooner we can get on with this trial and get back to that courtroom. It's not necessary to explain anything to us. It needs to be explained to the supposed defense attorneys. They're the ones
We're not here in my chambers to decide this case. We're here because of the unruly way you acted in my courtroom. Any effort for me to decide the laws of privacy and freedom of choice.
The case against Richard Loving and Mildred Jeter may very well be decided based upon our findings here and now. The law strictly prohibits interracial marriage.
only in Virginia. So the next question would be, is the law constitutional?
All laws, everywhere throughout the United States, must fall into the federal guideline and the decisions made by the U.S. Supreme Court.
I'm very well aware of that, Miss Odell. I'm a federal judge, remember?
Every decision that is made by the federal court affects everyone. I was raised in the poor section of Brooklyn, and let me tell you, those poor neighborhoods, ghettos, and barrios do not need any more unnecessary laws to live by. Life is rough enough.
Were you born in Brooklyn, New York?
Yes,
What part?
all of me.
Can we continue with this case in a sane and civilized manner?
Well, it's obvious the defense feels the current laws prohibiting the community from following unnecessary laws is cumbersome. And we agree. The federal government has no role in community standards or ethics. Oh, nice try, Alice. But you're not going to turn this into a personal interest. Our nation is a nation of people, more so than a nation of community. Individual rights trump community standards.
Great nations are the result of small communities. Respect the rights of small communities, and we all benefit.
Unless, of course, that your skin pigmentation does not suit the nation state.
We have laws in this nation that prohibit people from marrying minors and enemies of the state. And what about people who are mentally and physically unfit? Then there are cultures and religions that involve animals, drugs, and sacrifice that also aren't recognized and illegal.
And by the sheer fact that we incarcerate men and women for a commission of a crime interrupts the sanctity and the responsibilities of marriages. But in this case, the law prohibiting interracial marriages violates the Constitution.
In what way?
Those are all poor analogies relating to this case, Your Honor. No one's been convicted of crime, and there's been no law violated.
Not true. Not true at all. There have been multiple violations of the law in this case. Illegal entry into the state is a crime. Unlawful residency and the continuance of a crime, which the couple knowingly admitted to, is a crime.
Isn't that why we're here arguing? The United States District Court for Western Virginia has been around since 1871, conducting and reviewing civil and criminal cases. Old Dominion has produced more presidents than any other state, and currently within 8.3 million people has always followed the rule of law of land.
Yeah, unless you discount the fact that Richmond, Virginia was the capital of the Confederacy after it seceded from the Union.
And the only reason why members of the Confederacy weren't prosecuted was because of the treaty between the North and South that was signed between Generals Robert E. Lee and Ulysses S. Grant. It was agreed no member of the Confederacy would be prosecuted.
Okay, fine. Now, tell me what all of that has anything to do with this case.
Well, it indicates that the Commonwealth has not always erred in spite of justice. Many interpret laws rather than documents or even the written law. We saw what happened with the Civil Rights Act of 1964. That had to be clearly defined, and the Voting Rights of 1965 then was established.
And Your Honor, the passing of the 19th Amendment by Congress in 1920s did not give all women the right to vote. In many parts of the South, the separate but equal policy under Plessy versus Ferguson decision in 1876 was still in effect, as were the black votes.
I feel as if I'm back in law school with all this legal background both sides have given.
Cuts in federal funding to voter polls often causes discrepancies, affects voter turnout. Whether it be the law, lobbyists, taxes, or the budget, somebody's always going to have something to say about being mistreated.
Well, it's all about the community standards and the common good.
We're moving to living in a Martin Luther King world. In that we try to do what is right, because it is right.
So now we can all agree on something, and that is to have a system for the individual and a system for the community. But what happens when both systems collide, as is evident here? What to do? What to do?
The common good and the individual rights are two distinct and separate issues.
Within the law, community standards take precedence.
But in this case, the law abolishing interracial marriages violates the Constitution.
In what way?
Well, first of all, the First Amendment, which guarantees the right of freedom of speech as well as the separation of church and state. And 14th Amendment, which guarantees that every citizen has the absolute right to be protected under the law.
And Your Honor, I don't want to bring you back to law school again, but we have a case in which the amendments to Constitution clash. And when that happens, the court has always shown to be on the side of individual.
Individual? What individual are we talking about here? This isn't a case about individual rights, but against marriage. Marriage is a community of two people, as the community is a marriage of citizens. It's the same difference.
Don't you think that's some stretch?
No. A community and its representatives are as much a part of this nation as any other type of community.
Yes, yes. We the people in order to form a more perfect union, etc., etc.
And does Judge Stuart Marshall find fault with that?
How can a person or group be more perfect at anything? Either you're perfect or you're not. You can't be more perfect. There's no such animal.
Your Honor, I have a letter here, signed by over 100 judges and attorneys, stating that in 1789, when the U.S. Constitution was signed and ratified, it stated the following: "We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote a general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish the Constitution for the United States of America." Nowhere does it say anything about the individual over we the people.
Your Honor, I'd like to see a copy of that petition.
Thank you, Your Honor.
An amicus brief of sorts, I suppose. Well, friends of the court, meanwhile. Judges and lawyers are 95% right 25% of the time.
Under the Constitution, the community has the right to demand domestic tranquility and justice as outlined in the preamble to the Constitution.
Either we follow the intent of the Constitution or we don't, Your Honor. This isn't about the individual. This is about two communities. The community of marriage versus a much larger community, the state of Virginia.
Well, with all due respect to the dishonors of the Constitution, there have been federal cases and amendments since 1789 that many believe have changed the intent of the Constitution to be aimed at, in essence, to those of individual freedoms. This isn't 1789.
Agreed, Your Honor. The arguments the prosecution offer are false and have no bearing in this case. From the writ of habeas corpus, which requires an authority to prove to a court why it has cause to hold someone throughout the Constitution, individual rights are the backbone of the Constitution.
She's right.
She would be if this only involved one person. All rights have restrictions based on need, intent, and security of the community.
And how does two people getting married violate a threat in the community? The community thinks that people of another ethnic or religious background are a threat to them. That community has the ultimate right to bar those people from the same protections afforded the U.S. Constitution.
It's done all the time, Your Honor. We have immigration laws in place that prevent people from entering this nation for whatever reason. It's all about due process and the choices we have under the law.
And it's also done in the real estate markets. There are zoning laws that are put into effect to protect the identity of a class citizen to maintain their standards.
The fact that those other people cannot afford to move into a community is a lack of law, not a denial of rights or opportunity.
That's a supposition and not a fact. In essence, the community can determine who can and cannot live in any area or neighborhood based upon its zoning and tax structure.
Are you saying what George Orwell said in Animal Farm, that all men are created equal? Except there are some men that are more equal than others.
Community standards and denial of opportunity are a fact of life. Whether it be real estate, immigration, healthcare, and yes, even marriages, all have their place in the law.
Isn't copyright and patent laws also individual freedoms that are guaranteed under Article 1, Section 8 of the U.S. Constitution?
Oh, that's an excellent point, Your Honor.
Thank you, Ms. Chairman.
And isn't a community or any incorporated village considered a single entity? And should that single entity decide for itself without any conduct, law, or even influence by Big Brother?
So I don't think we're talking about Big Brother here. If anything, we're talking about Little Brother.
Is there a difference?
There are rights as guaranteed under the Bill of Rights, aren't there?
The Bill of Rights does not grant people those listed rights. The Bill of Rights, which are the first 10 amendments, simply guarantees that the government will not interfere in those rights. It's assumed those rights pre-exist, and that's very important in this case.
And community standards, you believe, is a pre-existing condition?
Yes,
How do you feel about the pre-existing condition of slavery?
that was determined by a war, not a court. If the South had won,
Okay, let's not go there. Anyhow, I have to meet the chief in a few. I want everyone to stay here, and please, let's try and get along.
So it looks like you still haven't lost your touch, Alex.
I intend to go all the way with this case.
And what exactly will that prove?
Would prove I was right about the Wilson case. You and your firm refused to back me, remember?
So now you finally admit that you quit the firm because
I
we
could
didn't.
have gotten Billy Wilson off completely. I found out later it was you who pushed to have that case plea bargain behind my back. You told the firm it wasn't my case to win. Was it my case to win? I could have taken that prosecutor apart piece by piece. You know, we've worked on a lot of cases together, Roberta. You should have had my back when I wasn't at that board meeting.
So now you're going all the way with this case. Gangway, everybody, here comes Alexandra Betancourt.
Doesn't it bother you at all that there are rules to follow? And one of those rules is that an attorney is supposed to win the case and to rely on one another?
Winner takes all attitude doesn't always suit the client. You have to bend a little, break, and leave your ego at the door.
Oh, so you think that plea bargaining a case is always in the best interest of the client?
You're putting words in my mouth. I didn't say that, Alice, and you know. I said sometimes, not always, as in this case.
Okay, so how does one plea bargain a case where there's a white man married to a black woman, and the state won't even recognize that marriage even though it was conducted out of state?
We could just tell Judge Marshall that we will allow the state of Virginia to continue from performing interracial marriages for, say, 3 years and allow a happy couple to live in the suburbs of Virginia. How does that sound to you?
It stinks.
I'm sorry you feel that way, Alice.
Listen, I am with the state 100% in this case. This is a winner-take-all, Roberta.
You are making a big mistake. Compromise. Think compromise. Politicians, athletes, and newborn babies win. Everybody else compromises.
Here, file this under miscellaneous.
All right, everyone, I'm back. Nice to see all of you standing.
You're gonna lose.
Not a chance.
Okay, now where were we?
We were discussing how laws and even cultures were grandfathered into the Constitution. Now, the way I see it, the state of Virginia's rights supersede the rights of the community, and that includes the community of marriage.
The right of private citizens to make individual choices should be left up to the people, not the state.
And the people of Virginia are perfectly capable of deciding for themselves how they wish to live.
And you feel a marriage between a black woman and a white man violates or interferes with the state?
It's not that simple, Your Honor. This isn't about the individual. This isn't about marriage. This is about the entire state.
The U.S. Constitution allows our society to move forward. Progress is the key to any civilized society.
This has nothing to do with marriage or the definition of anything else regarding people living in a civilized community or state. And by the way, what does two people getting married or remaining single have to do with progress?
Will you please explain the definition of progress to Mr. Perman and Mrs. Bettencourt, Your Honor?
Progress is being born to two loving parents, later on in life going to law school, becoming a judge, and developing ulcers. If that isn't progress, I don't know what is. Now, can we stick to the issue at hand?
I think the prosecution has proven its point. And I think this court should allow the state of Virginia to live in peace and tranquility as the Constitution states.
Whoa, not so fast, Counselor. The prosecution hasn't proven anything. The only thing the prosecutor has done is create a case for racism and separatism among the good people of Virginia and allowed to violate the natural rights of citizens in any given state.
There is a natural right for two people to marry without any consent from any level of government. Inasmuch as we are all calmed down, I think it is time we return to the courtroom to decide this case.
Good. Now that we all can agree that no federal court has any right to say who can marry who, whether it be a black person or a white person or a same-sex couple, the laws are in place.
Are you crazy? Where and when has it been written that two people of the same sex can marry?
Marriages. All types of marriages are in line with this case before the district court.
Wait a minute, I'd like to hear this about marriage of two people of the same sex being about to marry under federal law.
Well, isn't this what this case is about, Your Honor? Marriage?
No, that is not what this case is about.
Your Honor, it's important to address all aspects of this case. And same-sex marriage is one other aspect that relates to the First and 14th Amendment. Race-based marriage should have no space in modern society, nor should gender.
Ms. Bettencourt?
Race-based marriages have been around since colonial times, and it's been grandfathered into our laws. And it's been a worldwide concept in Asia, Europe, Latin America,
I'm
and
very well aware of that. But we are in the United States, not Asia, Latin America, or anywhere else on this planet. Plus, there is such a thing as the U.S. Constitution.
The founding fathers were well aware of people intermarrying between the races, and they kept that point of view even after the Constitution was signed and ratified.
Didn't Thomas Jefferson, one of the founding fathers, have an affair with a black woman named Sally Hemings, and that affair brought about 6 children. Nowadays, the court would consider that a form of alimony, and Mr. Jefferson would have to pay alimony.
And by today's standard, Hemings and Jefferson will be considered married by common law, Your Honor. The anti-miscegenation are becoming less and less enforced.
Just because something is trendy or not enforced doesn't make it legal. Laws are often negated for a variety of reasons. Low priority, lack of funding.
This whole idea of allowing interracial marriages is absurd. We don't even use the term miscegenation anymore because of its ambiguity with the law. We simply say cross-cultural, interracial, and interethnic relations to clearly define what we mean.
And you feel it's okay for the law to distinguish people between ethnic and racial backgrounds for purposes of marriages, Ms. Pencourt?
The law has been around since colonial times and has been grandfathered into our laws, and that includes common law marriages.
And you feel we use all laws in the black codes to determine the laws, since those laws and codes also go back to colonial times?
It is, Your Honor, we cannot unring a bell.
Don't count on it.
The whole purpose of our legal system is based upon values and facts.
And the value of the community must take a high priority, and in this case, the entire state of Virginia.
Well, maybe not the entire state of Virginia. I'm sure there were some of those who were opposed to banning interracial marriages.
I agree, Your Honor. A person's skin pigmentation should not be the factor for people to marry, even in the matter of people of the same sex.
How does it feel to be insane? You with this idea of same-sex marriage.
Who's to say who should marry who? The state? The church? Or some radical organization? Who?
All right, let's calm down and try and think this issue through.
The values that we all share centers around loving and caring for each other and the right to make very personal decisions.
The natural laws of our culture come into play here, and the rights of the unborn.
The rights of the unborn will be addressed after they are born by the future generation of attorneys and judges.
The rights of the unborn were determined by the founding fathers when they signed and ratified the Constitution. So far, our Constitution has worked out very well without anybody reading into it.
Perhaps you haven't heard about the added amendments that are just as much a part of the Constitution as the original Bill of Rights.
You two need to go back to law school and start over. Legal marriage should be
My toasters!
This may be a good time for us to take a break. Have some coffee, tea, milk.
I want to hear all of your arguments in a sane and civilized manner about this notion of two people about to marry and form a legal bond of the same sex. Ms. O'Dell, I'll hear from you first.
The Civil Rights Act of 1964, signed into law by President Johnson, although a weak law that needed additional laws, such as the Voting Rights Act in 1965, disallows any and all forms of discrimination based upon race, color, religion, sex, or national origins. Under the law, one cannot be discriminated against because of sex. So if two people want to marry, that is their business, and legal, under the law, in accordance with Due Process Clause and the 14th Amendment.
Mr. Perlman, your thoughts on same-sex marriage?
It's an absurdity, Your Honor. The idea of same-sex marriage involves Social Security benefits, pension benefits, and hospital visitation. What about prisoners who were previously married to someone of the same sex? That involves conjugal visits. And then there's alimony in the case of divorce. And what about health laws and the transmission of disease? By allowing same-sex marriage, we would be constitutionally granting the non-existing right to marry.
Your Honor,
Ms. Sherman, I would like to hear from you as well.
under Article 4 of the United States Constitution, also known as the Full Faith and Credit Clause, it specifically states that all states within the United States must respect the public acts, records, and judiciary proceedings of the other states. We must keep in mind that judgments have far greater regard than do laws, which would include this court.
And Ms. Bettencourt, I'm sure you have something to say?
Yes, Your Honor. The enforcement of the full faith and credit clause is usually decided by a federal court when there's a conflict of the laws. Now, many states don't even recognize other states when it comes to judgments and liens against personal property and personal wealth.
And you feel it is the right of the state to grant marriage licenses and to even deny two people from getting married, according to your interpretation of the Full Faith and Credit Clause?
Yes, I do, Your Honor. The state has every right to deny anyone the privilege of marrying for whatever reason. I'm an attorney. I
answers that question. No wonder why people hate us. If I was in a locked room with a lion, a rattlesnake, and a lawyer, and I had 2 bullets, I'd shoot the lawyer twice, and I'm a judge.
And those 2 bullets would probably go right to the lawyer without being felt. I agree with you, Your Honor. We can be a callous bunch. Professional, perhaps, but nonetheless callous.
So now we're on a collision course between the right of the state to deny marriage licenses to 2 consenting adults and the Commonwealth of Virginia.
And that involves marriages between close relatives, brothers and sisters, parent and offspring, and any other close relations.
Now, how do we get into this conversation?
It's all about marriages, Your Honor.
The right of the state to deny marriages between 2 consenting adults should be permitted in certain cases. Mr. Perman is not talking about 2 consenting adults wanting to marry, but laws against incest as marriages between those 2 consenting adults assume sexual intercourse.
And what are the laws and punishments provided to enforce the law?
The punishment against incest differs between 50 states, from probation to life in prison. And in the case of Rhode Island, there is no punishment.
If there is no punishment or disciplinary action, then how does the state of Rhode Island enforce the findings of the law?
As far as I was able to discover, the marriage licenses are simply not given out. So the criminal and civil laws of cohabitation, sexual intercourse, sodomy, and child abuse speaking.
Thank you for that information, Isabel.
The idea of marriage between close relatives and minors has no bearing on the findings of this court. This is about nothing more than 2 people wanting to get married, or at the very least having that marriage recognized, even though the marriage is legal, but not recognized in another state.
Clear that up.
And let's not forget that 2 consenting adults also does not give the right of the farmer to marry his goat.
What?
There is nothing about 2 consenting adults that allows for any form of bestiality.
If we're going to concern ourselves with appropriating in marriage, then what about in vitro fertilization, where there is no sexual penetration and the egg is medically implanted and administered?
That's another case for another court to decide. Can we stick to the issue at hand here and not go off on any tangents?
I agree with you, Your Honor. But you would have to feel sorry for that farmer and his goat.
Can we proceed?
To fall in love is a natural phenomenon. Love and marriage may defy the laws of man, but in the laws of nature, there is no law, and therefore no appeal.
Judges are nothing but lawyers in robes. We do what we're told to do by the law of the land. Like a grocery clerk who puts out a smorgasbord of delight for his customer to appease his boss or some higher entity.
Huh, I didn't realize you were a philosopher, Your Honor.
I'm no such animal, but I know how to present a bill and groceries to the customer. And I demand immediate payment. I expect immediate compliance.
Just like the significance of an umpire at a ball game who calls balls and strikes, and who determines who's safe and who's out at first base.
The umpire is the most important person on the field.
The only difference between those who play ball and those who umpire is that no one goes to the game to see the umpire.
They all seem so unfair.
So the question in this case is whether or not it's fair or legal for 2 people to get married when the law is perfectly clear about marriage.
In the state of Virginia,
As long as I'm judge, I will judge and decide cases from the bottom up. From the standpoint of member of minority, the elderly, child, the victim of a crime, the disabled, and for anyone who has given up on the hope of a better future. We value justice, truth, and the value of every single American citizen.
So what's standing in your way?
The U.S. Constitution.
the laws of nature against laws of men. The laws of nature can be cruel and unusual, and at times so for the laws of men.
True.
We could do both. We can abide by the law of nature as well as the First and 14th Amendments and allow the happy couple to remain married. And have the state of Virginia refrain from barring interracial marriages or even same-sex marriages for a 10-year period.
And what would that prove?
Would prove nothing, Your Honor. It would just be delaying a much-needed decision now.
Ms. Sherman?
It would allow the Virginia lawmakers to evaluate the other 49 states and have the full faith and credit clause to be peacefully realized.
Don't you think that the laws have already been scrutinized by the Commonwealth?
I don't know how the decision to deny marriage licenses to people came about. The minutes offered by the Virginia legislators is confusing and at times contradictory.
There is nothing contradictory about a law finalized by the lawmakers and a bill denying marriages signed by the governor of Virginia.
We can go on and on to the end of eternity about the findings and the denial of marriages to two people of different skin pigmentations and, yes, even two people of the same sex. But I need to decide this case in a court of law and not in my chambers.
We must remember what the Founding Fathers had in mind when it comes to interracial cohabitation and even marriages of two people of different races.
I'm sure Thomas Jefferson would definitely offer his opinion.
Okay, let's all return back to the courtroom now so we can end this case. And any outburst will be punishable by a contempt of court charge. Now, hopefully we can come to a satisfactory conclusion for the U.S. Constitution and, of course, we the people.
You're all I need to get by. You're all I need to get by. As long as I got you there, baby, you know that you got me. Oh, whoa. 'Cause we got a love that's R-E-S-P-E-C-T. Oh, whoa. Like a sweet morning dew, I took one look at you, and it was plain to see you were my destiny. With my arms open wide, I threw away my pride. I sacrificed for you, dedicate my life to you, and I would go where you lead. You're out there in a time of need. And when I lose my will, you'd be right there, push me up the hill. Yes, oh, walking back the horizon. So anything that we love, never showed up, that's enough. You're all I need. You're all I need. You're all one's for you, Aretha, because baby, I love you. It's one of the first songs I learned of Aretha. If you want my loving, if you really do, don't be afraid, hey baby, just ask me, and no, I'm gonna give it to you. Lord, and I will declare, I wanna see you waiting. Stretch out your arms, little boy, you're gonna get it. I love you, baby, 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 I love you. Ain't no doubt about it, baby, I love you. Baby, 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 I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you, baby, I love you. If you really wanna kiss me, go right ahead, I don't mind. All you got to do is snap your fingers. Oh, come on, Brian, I ain't lying. I ain't lying. Oh, what you want, little boy, you know you got it. I deny myself before I see you without it. 'Cause I love you, baby, 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 I love you. There ain't no doubt about it, baby, I love you. Baby, 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 I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you, baby, I love you. Someday I wanna and leave me sitting here crying. But if it's all the same to you, baby, I'm gonna stop you from saying goodbye. Baby, I love you. Baby, I need you. Baby, I want some. Baby, don't let your name, baby, I'm so wild. Don't let your little baby, I need you, baby. This song I actually recorded in my 20s. That's called Ain't No Way. One of my absolute favorite Aretha Franklin songs. Ain't no way for me to love for my doggy barking in the background. She gets very emotional when I sing Ain't No Way. And I hope you did too, and I hope you enjoyed my tribute to Aretha. God bless.